Hi, it's time for another verb of the day. Today's verb is prompt. And this verb was suggested by the viewer Maria Clara, and I just want to thank her for sharing a great suggestion. Now, let's take a look at some of the definitions or the ways that we use this verb. The first way you might see or hear the verb prompt used can mean to move to action or to serve as the inciting cause of. So I'm going to give kind of a sad but true example right now. The United States is preparing for a new president, and this president's ideas and policies have scared many people. His words and actions have prompted many international students to decide to come back to the United States before his inauguration. So it's served as the cause of them adjusting their plans. Even though they might have classes beginning later in January, many people are returning early before January 20th. A second way you might encounter prompt can mean to assist someone by suggesting or saying the next word or words of something that has been forgotten or something that has not been quite learned perfectly. Okay. So you might encounter this if you are involved in theater, in plays. Sometimes, as one practices, maybe the director, or if it's a school production, a teacher, someone there who's helping support the production might give an actor a word or two to help them remember kind of what comes next in the script and the dialogue. You might also see this a little bit in classrooms where a teacher, a professor, an instructor of some kind they're asking students questions, and maybe to help them remember, they start the first word of the answer, and again they're trying to get them to continue on and remember complete. A more modern way you might encounter the verb prompt can mean to request input from a user. So this is generally used again in computing. So when you are using any kind of website that's requiring you to enter an email, enter a phone number, something like that, right? We can say the site is prompting you for particular types of information. For now, you should know that prompt is a regular verb. If you want to make this a progressive verb, all you need to do is add ing. That is our progressive form, prompting. The past tense and the participle form of our verb is going to be made by adding ed. Our base verb, prompt, ends with a T sound. This means I will add an extra syllable when I make it a past tense or participle form. So I'm going to make an id sound with my ed, and it should sound like this. Prompted, prompted. Okay. Now, I don't have any additional phrasal verbs that we need to study today, so we can move on and do a little verb tense practice. Today, I thought we would review the present perfect and the simple future with be going to. Let's start with the present perfect. We can use this verb tense to talk about actions that have occurred at an unknown point in the past. So a little different than the simple past tense there, where we say it's a known time. Or we can use it to talk about an action that started in the past and continues into the present. This is a verb tense where we need to pay attention to our subject. And you can see two P's here, present perfect. That can help you remember you need two parts to make your verb. So if your subject is I, you, we, or they, use have, that's your first part, and then the participle form of our verb. That's our second part of the verb. If your subject is he, she, or it, use has, H-A-S, and then the participle form of our verb. Let's take a look at an affirmative or positive example. His threats have prompted community groups to educate immigrants about their rights. Okay. There's another example about kind of the incoming president and his administration causing people to act in a particular way. And here it's to provide greater education. Now, if you want to make a negative present perfect sentence, start with your subject, right? You'll use either have or has, followed by not, and then the participle form of the verb. We can combine have not into the contraction haven't, or has not into the contraction hasn't. You can see that in my example sentence here. She hasn't prompted her actors during rehearsals because she doesn't want them to rely on her assistance. So here, we're going back to the second definition of kind of offering a word or words if something is forgotten. And here, maybe we have a director who's not doing this, right? Doesn't want the actors to get used to or kind of depend on that assistance. Now let's take a look at making a yes or no question in the present perfect. To do this, you will start with have or has, then you're going to have the subject, and then the participle form of the verb. Here's another example. Have the devastating fires prompted people to change their thoughts on climate change? This sentence, of course, is connected to the awful situation in California and the thousands of people who've left their homes as some people begin to kind of examine why did this happen. I hope many will consider how our own actions are impacting the climate and how that affects others. Now, let's take a look at the simple future. Today, we're going to focus on making sentences with be going to. This is most common in discussing plans. You can see it used in other forms as well. But this is another verb tense where we need to pay attention to our subject. Our subject is going to change how we make our verb. We're going to be using a present form of be here. So if our subject is I'll use am going to and then the base verb. If my subject is you, we, or they, I'll use are, A-R-E, going to and the base verb. And finally, if my subject is he, she, or it, I'll use is going to and then the base verb. Let's take a look at our first example. The site is going to prompt you to register your email and phone number. There's that third definition. It means that the website here is requesting this particular information and you need to enter it. Now, if you want to make a negative simple future sentence, again, pay attention to your subject, use the form of be that matches, then not going to and the base verb. Here's another example. Stuffed cabbage isn't going to prompt yelps of excitement, but this dish is a must-have. This sentence is going back to our first definition about causing a particular or inciting a particular action. So here I borrowed this sentence from a recent recipe review someone had made, noting that like when you hear about this, you don't think like, I'm so excited to try this. But this person again was still strongly recommending the dish. Finally, let's look at making a yes or no question in the simple future. To do this, start with your form of be, whatever form matches your subject, that subject comes next. Then use going to and the base verb. Here's my last example. Are you going to prompt us if we forget something? Maybe this is an actor or someone getting ready to speak in front of others, sort of wanting to know, am I going to get your assistance or support if my mind goes blank and I can't remember what comes next? Now, let's spend a moment reviewing some words related to our verb prompt. And the first word we're going to discuss today is the noun form of this word. The noun prompt has the exact same spelling and the exact same pronunciation as the verb. This noun has several different meanings or ways to use it. The first way we'll discuss, using the noun prompt, can refer to an act of assisting or encouraging a hesitating speaker. An example of this: without any prompts, she recited her poem from memory. So the way this sentence is using it is without any acts of insistence, right? So this person was able to confidently recite. Now, a second way you might hear prompt used can refer to a word or phrase that is spoken as a reminder to an actor who has forgotten maybe their next word or perhaps the whole next line. So, an example of this: the director whispered a single prompt to assist the nervous actor. Right? So, just one little word to help that person get into character and continue on. A third way you might see prompt use can refer to either a message or symbol that is on a screen. That could be computer, could be phone, and it's showing or indicating that the program or system is waiting for some input, some information from you. An example of this: the prompts will guide you through the registration process, right? So you're going to be able to see from questions, maybe, or other symbols that you need to enter information here, here, and here in order to register for something. A fourth way you might encounter the noun prompt is generally in classrooms. So it could be something that inspires, or I would say even requests, a response. And that most commonly comes in either a statement or a series of questions. I use this word actually quite frequently because I help people get prepared for the high school equivalency exam here in the United States. Part of the high school equivalency exam includes writing a 5-paragraph evidence-based essay, and there is a prompt. There are articles one reads, and then there is a specific statement telling the person what the essay needs to be about. So that is inspiring their response. Another way you can use the word prompt is as an adjective. Okay? So this word as an adjective can mean that something is done without delay. Another similar word might be something is immediate. So an example of this in a sentence: the prompt actions by the EMTs helped save her life. So because their actions were immediate, right? She got the care she needed and was able to survive. Related to this is the adverb promptly. Now, this adverb can be used two different ways. One way would be immediately. So, an example of this: they paid the bill promptly and then left, right? So, maybe someone was in a rush, they had to pay quickly and get out. But another way you'll hear this adverb used promptly means punctually. Punctually means on time. So, an example of this: class begins promptly at 9 o'clock, right? So, that means like the person's going to begin teaching precisely at that time, not at 9:05 or 9:02, right? Exactly at 9 o'clock. Thanks again to Maria Clara for suggesting today's verb, and I thank you all for watching. Have a great day.